All right, so I will talk about Renaissance, a film by
Yeah, I
Beyonce,
didn't
right?
I didn't get a chance to see this. I couldn't. I was supposed to make time on Thursday, and that fell through. So I couldn't. I was like, all right, well,
But the show came
uh,
out.
my,
The show came out Friday though, December 1st.
no, well, they had us the late screening because
Okay, all right.
it was our late screening. It had late screening by us. So very very late screening. They just do that.
Uh,
So that's why I had the time for that by us, but it is yeah.
all right. Well,
So
here's the funny.
but if I didn't catch it on that, I won't have catch it at all.
All right. Well, here's the funny thing about this, right? Because I told you on Friday, right? You know, you'll get to the review in a bit, right? So I told you on Friday that the best place to go and see this movie town because of the ticket prices, right? Because
Right.
well, Cinema One had, well, their price is still the same, but it's just the timing I was really a fan of, right? These night screenings,
Yeah.
right? I just would have for me, I wanted to see it in the afternoon or evening time, not specifically at night, right? That's one. But here's the funny thing, when I went to see it yesterday, at the time I was recording this, right, in Movie Town, they actually charge the same price that Caribbean Cinemas 8 charge, which is $100.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Everybody busting everybody through. Yeah. That is
So
true.
as I buy the ticket and the cashier say $100, I ask her
Yeah.
nicely, why this movie so expensive? She's like, you don't know, like I don't know. I say, all
Yeah.
right, and just to wrap up this preamble here, right? I was legit about to call you and warn you about this, like I thought that you were in
No,
movie
as I say, I'm
town
not
on
going.
that day
No,
going to
I'm
see it.
not
I was
going,
gonna
and I wasn't
warn
going. Yeah, but Matthew, I'm not going movie tongue anyway to see this. I would have go thing. So it was. I don't expect to spend the 100.
Oh, all right.
Right?
Well,
It's walking distance for me. So I
yeah.
don't understand.
Well, all right. Well, I'll use this as a segue, right? Don't worry, guys. We're gonna get to the review, right? So, as a segue, right? When you saw Taylor Swift, right, the Eras tour,
Right.
right?
Which I
Um,
found time for.
right, which is found time for kills right there, right, for you, right? Um, the price of admission was the same, right? Normal price, right? Ticket price.
Yeah. I mean, I don't remember paying anything different. But that's the price of that place.
All right. So here's the thing with me, right? That's to kick things off, right? So as I sat there in the theater, right? Early show, I went to 1 p.m. show, right? In Movie Town, right? And there was like, I would see about 9 other people there, right? What I won't lie, while I was waiting for the movie to begin, I was asking myself if this was going to be worth that ticket price, that $100 ticket price, right? And
Right.
what I will say is, after having seen it for myself, I guess so. Like, yes, I mean, not surprising. This is a great film, right? But is it worth $100? I don't know. But I just find it really sketchy that this particular film, cost that much. So I don't know if it's just how big the artist is or how big the pull will be to see this person in a concert film. I don't know, right? Because yeah, for you to charge, a normal ticket price to see Taylor Swift, and Taylor Swift is big, and I imagine that, on local airwaves, her music just be blasting, right? But yeah, I mean, when it comes to Beyonce, I mean, the name speaks for itself, right? So I wondered if they just slap that price now because of the name. I just don't know. Um, but I speculate it may have to do with the content itself. But then when you really think about it, it's like, but why though? Like have you not listened to Renaissance? Like I mean, come on, right? But I'll get to that in a bit. Right. So I don't know if you checked out Renaissance, right? Well, the album itself from Beyonce,
No. Yeah.
you should because it's great, right?
No.
Yeah. It was in my top 10 lists for best albums of the year, right? Of last year, and it was number one in many like online publications, best of lists, right? And rightfully so,
Right.
right? But what Renaissance does well, right, and this is what the show capitalized on, is basically at the end of the day, it's just this escapist album, right? It's just like, we were on lockdown for like about a couple of years, now we're out and we're
Right.
free and we're just gonna have fun, right? But what made this album really stand out even more now is the target audience, right? So of course they will, when it comes to the Beehive, right? Of course it's as well. I just guesstimated, right? It's mostly black people, right? That vibe with her music from day one, right? But with Renaissance now, and I'll make the argument that this particular group, was rocking with her music for years, right? But this album as a renaissance with like the statement saying, all right, this album is also going to be for you. I would say you guys are the primary audience. Yeah, this is for the LGBTQ girl. That's really what
Okay.
the album is for, right? Because what it does now, it's tapping, sorry, into house music, right? Early 90s
Right.
house, Vogue stuff, right? So you can imagine like some of the beats in this, right? Harkening back to, like stuff that you would see in docs like say, oh gosh, like Paris is Burning, or
Right.
what was the
Right.
name of that series that ended just the other day? Pose, I think that's the name of it.
Right. Yeah. Janet Mock. Yeah. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Hmm.
So it's leaning towards like early 90s, queer representation when it comes to fashion and music and all that kind of stuff, right? But it's done in a Beyonce way, so of course it's gonna be over the top, it's gonna be celebratory, it's gonna be sexy, right? Because it's her, right?
Right.
But it's gonna be very, very heartfelt and fun, right? And that's really the vibe of the album. It's just such a fun listen, right? So me myself, who isn't big on house music, right? Even though I, knew some songs growing up, especially that one song, Show Me Love, which was referenced in the, or should I say sampled heavily in the song Break My Soul, right? That's where that beat come from. That do. That's where that
Right.
sample came from. Show Me Love, right? From Robin S. I think that's the name of the artist. If I could be wrong, right? Yeah, that's where it's going. That's where it's leaning towards, right? And yeah, it's just a great album, right? But the point I get at with this too is just the mindset is that it's just a fun album, right? You don't really think about the kind of goofy one-liners here or there, or the sexual innuendo and stuff like that. It's just about the vibe and how fun it is. Like you're just in this nightclub with this music blasting in the ears for like a whole hour plus, and just Beyonce at center stage, and that's what it is, right? And yeah, the movie itself is that, right? It's based off of her, I believe, still ongoing concert tour, right, of the same name, right? And not surprising, in this movie now, yeah, she cover practically every track on it, right? Every single track
Right.
is shown on stage, right? I should mention also too, this movie is close to 3 hours long. But for me, surprisingly, I didn't feel that weight. I didn't feel that weight when it came to the time. I didn't feel that length. No. For me,
Right.
I felt it could have gone just an hour longer. Like for me, it felt more like 2.5 hours than it did three. Right? I felt it could have just gone more, and that's just because of how that vibe was. But it was just so upbeat, so vibrant, so fun. Right? Yeah, your boy was tapping the feet. Your boy was
Yeah.
nodding his head numerously to the point that when the movie end, I get a little sore neck and whatnot. But it's all good. It's all good. And because I wouldn't say that I know the album in and out, right? So I don't remember like stanzas and bars and stuff like that. I just remember, hey, this is the song, and is this the name of the song, and I remember how the progression of the song goes. But if you ask me, to sing a line or a verse, I can't do that, right? Because yeah, I don't like. I didn't dive too deep into the record. Last time I listened to it, literally was last year, right? But yeah, hearing the songs like, yeah, I know this song, and I think if I'm not mistaken, it's in order, like in terms of the track list, and I think it plays out in order. Because the last song that you hear before the credits roll is the last song on that record, right? But what this show does exceptionally well for me is that it shows you the behind the scenes stuff of this movie, of the tour, right? And it makes sense, right? Because you can't give us this 2 hour and 50-minute film and it's just about concert performance, right? Now I have not seen Taylor Swift's film, so I don't know if it was entirely concert based, right? I imagine that there was some behind the scenes stuff, but maybe like in little sprinkles here or there, right? But this one in particular stops ever so often to show you the behind the scenes stuff. And it's not like, okay, we just pull in the plug on the music and we just have to tell you this or we have to show you this. No, it will come like either right at the beginning of a song, like it will just stop for a bit, show you the moment, and that moment itself builds into what you will see, or it kind of follows from what you saw before. And I really thought that was done very well, right? But yeah, as far as the behind the scenes stuff, it was what I expected, right? But where it's like, you're seeing, the rehearsals, you're seeing the dancers and, the routines and all that kind of stuff. You've seen that before, right? If you remember, Homecoming, right? From
Right.
from
And right. I
Netflix,
remember
right?
that. Yeah.
which was about her performance in Coachella. From what I remember, 'cause I think last time I saw that was when it dropped back in like what 2016 or 2017.
Right.
Either 2017 or 2018. I could be wrong, right? Or 2019 for all I know. I think it's 2019, right? Yeah. You would see like little bits and pieces, like I would say like once you see enough performance, it will always kind of stop for a bit, and because of the team homecoming, it was all about, yeah, I'm going back home, and is like, meeting with old friends, right? So like if you remember from that film, she did a performance with her Destiny Child buddies, right? She did that, and it was great, right? But here was more about, not just the behind the scenes stuff, but also where Beyonce is in her life, right? Because I didn't even know her age, prior to watching this, to be honest. Yeah, she's 42 years old and she's a mother of
Yeah,
three,
yeah.
right? And, she's in a new stage in her life, right? And I like how she compares that and what she's going through now to the message of Renaissance, right? Which is just basically, it's a new beginning. She says this at the beginning. I just wanted to create a safe space for everyone here, so it doesn't matter whether you're black, white, queer, street, whatever it is. You are all welcome. We are all family here, right? You get the sense of family throughout this film, right? Whether it's the way how she connects to the audience. And by the way, there's a lot of
Right.
like shots of the audience too. I love those moments as well too. And it just really adds so much vibrancy and flavor to the show as well, right? And it totally works. Yeah, and even backstage, how she talks to the managers and the dancers and all that kind of stuff. You really feel that camaraderie there, right? Also, too, there's a great moment at the beginning where she's talking about the engineers and all the people now who pretty much build these sets, right? Because as she states earlier on, it's not just like when they're about to perform in one stadium, there's other people who are building the same exact stage or set, if you will, in another venue, or two venues elsewhere in the States, right? I thought that was really fascinating. There's just the craftsmanship and just the mechanisms, going on there, right? And yeah, the show just pretty much shows you that, right? But this might be a guide for some people, but I totally understand. I think it makes perfect sense. And I think it works very much too because of, of the runtime now. The show does not stop to interview an engineer or a manager or a choreographer, right? You might just see like a brief little interview. You might just see like a line or two. You might see a name. You might show a snapshot or whatever, and then you just move on, right? Because yeah, there's a lot of ground that the show covers, right? But who is front and center? Obviously, is Beyonce, right? And she's narrating the entirety of this. She's front and center, whether she's on stage, behind, whether she in a tour bus, whether she in a plane, whether she home. You know what I mean? She's always front and center, right? Speaking of which, of course, we boy Jeezy there. He makes a few appearances there. He don't even get that much screen time, but when he's there, he does his thing though. So you don't see much of G in it though, and I had no problem with that, right? What was pretty weird though is that they didn't really see the other two kids. That would be what the names are. Let me run them through. You don't see much of Rumi or Sir, and I imagine it's because they're young, But you do see
Right.
Blue Ivy Carter in this, right? And I won't
Yeah,
lie,
yeah.
like
Yeah,
she
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 looked just
looked
like
just
Beyonce
like
boy.
she mother boy, and she's like only 11 dread, right? Like the face, the face in particular, right? Especially
Yeah,
like
when she was younger, when she was younger, she was looking more like Jeezy, but is now she look more like Beyonce, I think.
yeah, boy. I was just watching, she's like, jeez, but
Mm.
and she has a part to play in this, right? Because slight spoiler, unless you follow Beyonce on social media or you actually went to one of these concerts, yeah, Blue perform in the sense that she
Right,
was she was a backup dancer, right? And
right.
actually the song what is My Power, which was my favorite song off of the Black is King movie and soundtrack, right? Like I absolutely love that song. This powerful Afrobeat song, right? And yeah, she could dance. And earlier
Yeah,
on, you see her learning the choreography, right? But how they set it up too was great. I don't want to spoil it, but what I'll say is that you really practice and work on that routine. So when she just goes there, she just does it naturally. And I like that, her mom actually kind of gives her the space to just, dance alongside the other dancers, right? And then she just leaves the stage. And that was cool, right? Um, Also, as far as performances do, well, just people who show up, right? Um, it sucked that Jeezy was not on stage because, all right, I had a spoiler, right? They play the intro to Family Feud, Like when I hear it, I was like, all right, we're gonna get family feel. Like at least Jeezy gonna perform a verse. And if you
Yeah,
remember,
definitely.
Beyonce is just being back doing vocals, right? So I thought it was gonna be that. It's like, nope, they just sort of set it up, right? What I will say though is that that beat actually segues into one of the best and most standout songs from Renaissance. I'm not gonna spoil it, but yeah,
Yeah,
it is a highlight, right? And in the film too is a highlight as well, right? Uh but who does perform though? My boy Kendrick Lamar shows up. He comes through.
right.
He does a verse. I thought that was really cool. I think that this verse was specific for the performance because it was not on Renaissance at all, right? But even though he make parents, that's the best way I'll see it on the record, right? But he didn't really do any rap or anything like that. But on stage, he do a rap. It was really cool seeing that, right? Also, Wigil, Megan Thee Stallion show up because, surprise, surprise, they play Savage. They play the Savage remix, right? If you remember, that was
Right.
the
Yeah,
song that
right.
Beyonce kicks off and she does a really solid verse there. She mentions OnlyFans, which I still find
Right.
funny. But yeah, after the chorus, yeah, Megan come and she twerk and stuff, and I get to see that on a big screen. It's like, yes, yay,
Right.
Um and that was just pretty much it. It was just Megan come and perform, and Beyonce being, thank you, and Megan is like, thank you, oh my god, and Beyonce, it's just a fun moment between the two of them, right? Doing their thing. That was really great, huh? Just a few things for you. Also, similar to many concert films of this nature, yeah, they pretty much cover all the venues that she did her thing at, right? And of course that means that you will get some really solid editing because like on stage when she's performing a song, you've seen it before, right? But they do it very well here, right? Yeah, you'll see some wardrobe changes while she's performing the song. Of course, that means that she was in a different venue, right, when she's performing them, right? But there's a few moments where they just edit it in such this rapid fire way though, and just in such a clever way. But I was like, wow, but like y'all really were putting effort into that editing, right? They really did that well, right? Also there's a great moment too where during a song, a particular song, it's probably the most popular song outside of Break My Soul, from that album. Yeah, where there was a technical difficulty, right? And
Okay.
they actually show it happening, right? At that venue. I thought that was like a really great moment, just showing that even though what you're seeing here is meant to be perfect, and the show really stresses on how much of a perfectionist, Beyonce is, things could happen, right? But it's how she moves towards it, right? She's not freaking out, she's not cussing anybody on, backstage. Just basically do a wardrobe change and come back out and perform the song, and it was like nothing happened. I thought that was really really great, right? And yeah, at the end of the day, it's moments like this that really show just the beauty of this movie, right? It's really showing you that yes, there is a lot of work and effort put into this, right? And even though there might be little missteps here or there, right? Like case in point, Beyonce will mention how over the years, she will get injuries, right? During performances or whatnot, whether it's
Right.
when
Yeah.
she's on some large set or prop or whatever, or just her just being on stage all the time. And she also mentions at a moment where there was some smoke and it led to having sinus issues and all that kind of stuff, right? Like it's practical stuff, right? But it's the kind of stuff you won't think about because you're just thinking about the aura and this, it's Beyonce, right? It's is the woman herself, right? You're expecting perfection, right? But just her peering behind, opening back the curtains and showing you, yes, but this is the effort that goes into this, right? It's really admirable. And just her comparing it to, just her being, a woman, well, a 42-year-old woman, sorry, and a mother of three, right? And a wife. Yeah, totally works as well. I should mention also too, just a few more things and then we wrap up. Of course, her mom is there. They don't show much of the dad, which I thought was pretty interesting. But they show her mom. She makes a couple of appearances here or there. They also mention an old friend of theirs, which was well, they used to call him Uncle Johnny. He was this gay man, this gay black man who actually died a few years ago, right? But she actually shouts him out, right? On probably yeah, one of the best songs on the record here, on Heated, right? Which, yeah, for me is an absolute bop. I absolutely love that song, right? But yeah, one of the big moments of that song was her talking about, Uncle Johnny me in my dress, right? And there's
Yeah.
and as go back to what I said about Johnny, yeah, they touch on how he impacted the Knowles family, right? Especially with Beyonce and her rise in, the world of music, her just staying focused, learning how to dance and, sing and all that kind of stuff. But in particular, I thought that was really beautiful. Him introducing her to house music, right? So basically stuff that I mentioned before, that old 90s house era of music. Yeah, he introduced that to her, right? And, it's so unfortunate, the stuff that he went through, again, being gay and black, right? But how kind of comes full circle now where she's paying tribute to him. And yeah, just that community as a whole now. And again, now they have this place, now they have this album, now they have this concert where they could be themselves, right? And I think at the heart of it all, that's the beauty of this movie, right? It's really, again, it's about family and how everybody, whether it's backstage people or people in the audience, how they're all kind of connected together. I absolutely love that, right? So just in closing, I don't know, that's one last point before I get to, my final thoughts, right? Now, I don't know, right? This is just me speculating here, right? This is not me knocking anybody, right? But I don't know if it's because the show makes references to the LGBTQ community is the reason why it, the ticket price was so much. I don't know. I know,
Wow.
listener is a huge stretch. I know, right? But just like, because some people, like, to the untrained eye, might just go into this, spend up $50 and say, all right, well, it's Beyonce. Yeah, you watch this. My kids like Beyonce. Let me take my kids, right? One, I should mention, too, I imagine it's similar to the Taylor Swift film. It's not a kid's film, right? In the sense that, yeah, when,
Taylor Swift thing. No, Taylor Swift thing felt more all ages. It didn't feel like for adults at all.
Okay. Why I say that? Because, can you imagine, like, on stage, Taylor Swift probably dropped some F-bombs, right? For all I know. I don't know, right? But,
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't remember that at all.
Right. But Beyonce did because it's on Renaissance, right? But it's one of those things where, because it's the music, that's totally understandable, right? Like, if you know the songs, then you know what you're gonna get, right? So it's not like, oh, she just stop everything and just see a curse with just because, right? I know the album, so I know what she's seeing it, right? So if you go in knowing that, then you wouldn't be like surprised at all to see those words on stage, right? I mean, it's freaking Beyonce. She could, and she kind of make it known with this film here in particular, right? Yeah, she could pretty much say and do what she wants, right? At this point, right? She is the queen, right? So to speak, right? But yeah, so I don't know if the ticket price is I don't know, if it's just meant to be something so exclusive.
It could be.
I don't know.
It could be a local problem as well. A lot of people.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah. Because
like a censorship kind of thing, then.
Yeah. Because sorry to say, but yeah, people down here, sorry to say, it's still kind of iffy when it comes to queer representation on screen. I mean, sorry, that's just how it is, right? So I just wonder if the pricing of these tickets, in two venues, right? Because I imagine in Gemstone is always 100, right? But I assume IMAX would be like 65 still, or maybe more, right? For all we know. Yeah, so, again, it's just a speculation, right? But I just feel like this is sort of exclusivity, attached to this film now, I'm assuming it has to do with that content. But for me, when I saw it, because I'm familiar with the album, right? And I should also mention too, especially when it comes to the samples and the guests involved, it's people who are associated with queer culture and all that.
Yeah. Okay, well that's a strong possibility because you find it because when you say you went to movie town to avoid the $100 thing, and it still costs $100 a gil.
Yeah.
I was wondering why for this one movie now? That's a good explanation that it will probably come out as truth next, whatever. But it is solid. I think solid speculation, to be honest.
Yeah, because I was hoping that you would have seen it because, or at least that's why I brought up the whole Taylor Swift thing in the first place, right? Because
I want to know otherwise.
Well, exactly, because you didn't go, but
exactly.
That's why I asked earlier.
No, I want to know otherwise. I want to know otherwise if I went because is. Cinema one is the same price anyway.
Oh, okay,
so
all right.
I'd have paid $100 anyway. It's Cinema one.
All right, yeah. Well, I thought you were going to go to Movie Town or at least take my advice, but okay.
I was going. Listen. Effort matter to me. Effort matter more than money almost always.
I know, but here's the thing. I come from the east, right, and I had to go all the way down to Port Street to see this. You in San Fernando, bro.
Exactly. I am.
There's a movie town.
I'm quite shocked. I am quite shocked you have that kind of energy. I am quite shocked you have that kind of energy. That shows
my commitment. Not to Beyonce, it's my commitment to see this movie.
Yeah, I wasn't doing shit. I wasn't not doing shit. Again, if I didn't find the time the day I did, I wasn't doing it. That's the problem. When I saw it, it was either the Thursday, which was the very late screening, or the possible, but the Saturday was out. So it's like, all right, well, you go tell me about it.
Yeah, but just to go back to the whole $100 things, right? I'm gonna wrap it, right? It's just so funny that I could have gone to Caribbean Cinemas to watch a show in the first place, boy.
Yeah,
But
that rough.
because
That's
Movie
rough.
Town didn't specify the ticket price, right? Again, this is not me
Yeah.
knocking all there, because I actually have some praise for y'all. That coming in a minute. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I just sort of went in expected to pay $50 or $55, and them told me 100. Like, what? You know what I mean? But yeah, that's my speculation, because I don't think it's because it's a Beyonce film. No, because she named slap on it mean you had to charge $100, and like she there with doing a Q&A after that. So like, you know what I mean? So I feel like that, like what I mentioned earlier on, I think that is the reason, right? But that's just me. That being said, though, I still enjoy the experience of seeing it in Movie Town, boy, because if it's one thing I must say about this show, because it's similar to the Taylor Swift thing, I don't even know if and when it'll come out digitally, right? But this is one that you have to see on the big screen, boy. Not just because of the visuals, right? Because yes, the on-screen stuff looks amazing. Just the set pieces, the choreography, Beyonce, I have to say, yeah, she looked fine as hell. Like, just throughout all of this. But not just that, just the movements and the performances, right? Just on point, right? But the sound, boy, Jesus, like just the
Yeah.
bass I was being hit with, right, throughout this show. I was just like nodding my head to this though. So it's the closest that you really will get to being in the crowd of one of these concerts. Is that's the best, that's the main reason I would give to actually see this theatrically, right? Just because, like, just sonically, but you really feel like you are a part of this experience, man. And I was just blown away by it, though. You know what I mean? I would just love it. Like, they could have just raised the volume even more, and I would just be like, I don't care if my ear's bleeding, right? But it was great. It was great, right? One more thing before I get to my final thoughts, right? It's not just the Renaissance tracks that are performed in this movie, right? You also get some of the hits, right? So you get stuff like "Drunk in Love," you get "Dangerously
Yeah.
in Love," you get "Crazy in Love." You know what I mean? You get the hits, right? To the point where I was like, like she did this in Homecoming though. Like she did this stuff too, but I was like, the fans love it. The fans love it. So whatever, right? And yeah, I mean, the Beehive was there. They were in full form though, and that's going back to the whole LGBTQ crowd. I just love that there was like this huge emphasis on them though, and just people in general, right? Just knowing all the lyrics, just freaking out the moment that Beyonce comes on stage in a new outfit or a new setting or a new backdrop or whatever it is, just they losing their minds though. Yeah, it's great though. You really feel that energy throughout the film, right? So yeah, in closing, well, I can't honestly say that this show was worth the $100 ticket. I
Right.
still had a blast with this though. I wish that I could compare this to the Taylor Swift film, but I did not see the Taylor Swift film, nor am I versed in her songs, right? So for me, I would have watched the Taylor Swift stuff and only recognized two songs, probably the same two that you recognize when you saw it, right? But for me,
Yeah.
I knew a majority of the songs anyway, you know what I mean? And like I said this with Homecoming, it's only when Lemonade dropped, that's when I became a fan. That's when I really appreciated her. Because back then it was like, yeah, I mean the song's big, but I don't know. Like she wasn't roping me in that much, right? But after Lemonade and how frank and just how raw she was in that's when I had absolute respect for them. From there, yeah, I was just a huge fan. And I will say also too, I've been enjoying her movies, right? Because if I'm not mistaken, this is actually her third feature film, right? The last one was
Right.
Black is King, which was in my best
Right.
of
Which was
for
good, yeah.
for that year, right? Whenever it came out,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And not surprising, this is also going to be in my best of, man. This is a fantastic concert film, but also a great behind the scenes look at just the process, and just the family dynamic, you know what I mean, that is present both on stage, in the audience and backstage, man. It absolutely works, right? And at the end of the day, it's just really like just this testament to, Beyonce just pushing herself
Yeah.
over and beyond the Call of Duty, just to push the medium of music and just to entertain her fans. Just how far she's willing to go with it, right? I'll close this before I get to return. I love that it sort of ends with her just seeing she's at a point in her life where she don't really have to care what people think. I want to say people, I mean like the critics, like, oh, why you'll say this goofy line or why you'll reference this and whatnot, right? Even the mere fact that she's referencing like drag culture of the early 90s, I know ruffled some people's feathers when Renaissance came out, like, look at you and what you represent, capitalism, like, why you blah, right? I ain't even gonna get into that, right? But at this point in time in her life, she could not care less, right? So, yeah, so for me, I absolutely enjoy this, man. Rating wise, I'm going to give this a decent, yeah, you know what? Decent to strong 4.5 out of 5, man. Easy 1 years, best films. It lives up to the hype and more. It's supposed to be in theaters for a limited run, so I think it's assuming the states, right? So down here in Trinidad, I do hope that it runs more than a week. You know what I mean? So more people will see it, right? Because yeah, say what you want about who the album is for. People love Beyonce, right? And people loved Break by Soul, right? At least from what I remember, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean it's Beyonce, man. Who doesn't want to see her and literally be part of that of that concert?
No, I when she came to Trinidad, I was just so impressed when I went to that, and I thought that was great. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that was very, very impressive.
I wish I wish I could have seen that for myself, boy. But yeah,
that was very, very impressive.
And a scene here right now, I think this is the number one movie right now in the States right now, so it done beat Wish and Silent Night, right?
I know that, and I didn't see Silent Night, but I know this thing was doing okay. We're doing some decent numbers. Godzilla -1. I'm not sure. I hear a lot of people talking about it.
Oh, yeah. I hear a lot of great things about that. I don't know if you'll get to see that because, dude, like just off this, slightly though, right? It's so funny that the closest Godzilla films we ever got were the Hollywood films.
Yeah, it's actually.
We get none of the Toho films, none.
No, it take a hot minute for seeing that Godzilla to come across. That's a little fucking ridiculous. So it's like, all right, I'm gonna have to wait a little while if I want to see, Godzilla -1 legit. It's either that or your silly high seas.
Yeah, which I am more than willing to do, right? But what I'll say with this, because I don't know if it'll come out digitally. Please see this on whatever big screen you could get a hold of. Like, if you have to spend $100 and see it in IMAX, if you have to spend $100 and see it to see it,
you're telling people are big. You're telling people are big pull there. But yeah, no, it's only when you mention.
I know, but
it's only when you mention that price thing. I do think it might have some chicanery, at the heart of that.
Yeah.
Involving censorship, and I would not be surprised how some local censor people, jump on and tell these cinemas to make it more expensive. They can outright censor it.
Yeah,
without gain the ire of the usual crowd.
Yeah, because we can't have them conservatives come and watch a show with the kids. And by the way, the show is like 40 years over.
It's not that. Exactly. But they just wanted to still play paternalism kind of thing. And it's a shame that they couldn't get more people to Actually, I really asked that question about all the little extra strategies censorship people just do in terms of things. But that really sounds like something that usual conservative bullshitters will do to censor something. Say, okay, they can't outright blatantly censor it, but they'll do the second, the rigmarole approach, the chicken shit approach, as they say, and just price people out of it. Yeah, because people, if movies are more expensive, people will go see movies less. Full stop. These kind of things. So if you want to get people to not see something, just make it more expensive. But yeah,
exactly, and then people will just be like, well, I'll just wait till it come out online whenever,
right?
But like I say, because I don't know when it's going to come out online, it's best to see it theatrically, right? But like a Oppenheimer, like a Killers of the Flower Moon, it's long. I know some people really don't want to sit down in a cinema and watch a movie clocking in at near 3 hours. And I understand that, right? Even if it is a concert film and the music knocks right from start to end, right? And even more because of what I mentioned with the content, right? But for me, the content is part of the show. If you know the album, then you know what to expect in it anyway. So what I saw was not a surprise. It was a celebration and I was a part of it and I enjoyed every minute of it, right? But the ticket price, I mean, is really, 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 really sketchy, right? So
somebody you could actually, when you put it out and you mention it, you could probably put it out on Facebook and see, who the usual parties or who supposed to be involved, what they will say about it, and I ask them that question directly, because it is very unusual that this one movie, why is this so more expensive? Is it because of the distributors and distribution by Beyonce? That's possibly the answer.
Yeah.
That was the first answer in my head, you know. But the thing is who doing what and why? And again, it could just be that as a simple thing, because remember we was talking about how the paradigm, there's an interesting paradigm shift in terms of films and the idea of concerts in film and in theaters, and the studio system, and there's a whole thing with that. We saw that with Taylor Swift now. And so Beyonce doing the same thing. I personally would love to see somebody like Janelle Monáe do something like this as well, and you make it a whole interesting conceit. In terms of like the future of entertainment. It don't have to be studio films as we understand it. But yeah, it is very unusual, and I would not be. All I'll say is I wouldn't be surprised if it's part of it. We're not accusing anybody of anything.
No.
But,
Yeah.
But it is very unusual. But it could be that's the simplest answer of a distribution issue on the part of Beyonce's people or whatever it is in terms of getting this film out and what the ticket price is going to be. So if you want to show me a film, you have to show it at this price. Blah blah blah.
It could be that as egregious
right.
as it is. It could be that. It could be, hey, I'm Beyonce, give me money, right?
No, yeah, exactly. It's an event. It's not like she bringing out. She not a film studio. She putting out whenever she put out, she thinks, and so on and so forth. When it was the pandemic, Disney Plus made sense, right? And so on and so forth, right? Or whatever. I don't know. Yeah, but again, I would like to ask questions for the right people, or who, if it was relevant. You know him personally, so you could ask that question, right?
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But yeah,
right.
just to wrap things up, because we have to move forward. Yeah, so I would say if you know the album and you know who it's for and what it represents, and even though it's really nothing to like sneeze at, what I mean, it's just a celebration of freedom. That's basically it, right? So yes, it does lean into ballroom culture and stuff like that, right? And dance music of the 90s or whatnot, right? But that's part of what made the album great and why I love it so much, right? Just this sort of like contemporary throwback, these like this, going back and forth with all these like subgenres and whatnot, right? But yeah, at the end of the day, if you know the album and you love the person who made it, yes, I mean, go support her, go see this film, right? But again, that $100 ticket price will be an issue. But I think the reason why I keep happening so much, and then I'll stop here, is because this, I should confess, is the first concert film I've ever seen theatrically. I know there were other concert films that came out over the past year or so down here, like Coldplay or Metallica or BTS though, but I never went to those. I don't know the prices of them. I just went off for what I saw off a Caribbean Cinemas 8, them charging 100. I think there's one that's coming up very soon. I forget the name of the group, some South Korean group, and they're charging the same price with it. So I thought it was a CC8 thing, right? That's why I tell you, hey, Movie Town could be the option. So much of my surprise, I go in, nobody tell me this. I did with my $100 in hand, ironically, and like, yeah, it costs $100. Like, Jesus Christ.
You think you I got a little bit of popcorn or something.
Yeah, boy. I just sit down there. Thank God I ate before, right? I ate some Popeyes and shit before I went in. Yeah, I just sat down there, I just watched it. But other than that, I had an absolute blast. And yeah, I mean, if you're a huge Beyonce fan, if you're a huge Renaissance fan, yeah, you'll have a blast too. But I'd really strongly recommend seeing it in theaters just for that, just for the music though, and just the sound in particular though. But again, that price though,
Yeah, well, very good. Alright, no see.